Hey everybody, here's an update video to let you know what we're going to be doing with Star Trek Voyager and Star Trek Picard Season 2. First of all, thank you for listening to our Enterprise coverage. It's much appreciated. We loved all the comments, all the people leaving feedback about the ending of that series as we moved into something new. It was nice to go through that with you guys. Nice to see a Star Trek that I was not really all entirely very familiar with. And nice for Clay to finally get one where he's seen every single episode and we can guarantee that that's the case. So thanks again for everybody who listened, supported the show on Patreon and all that stuff through our coverage of Enterprise. And we're excited to be moving on to the next series. So first things first, Voyager is going to be our next covered series because you guys have done so well on the Patreon that we've exceeded the tier where we're going to watch every single Voyager episode, which is the $900 goal. So we're going to do Voyager next to keep you guys excited about the podcast moving forward. We've been waiting a very long time to start that series. So here we go. We're going to move into it. The podcast is going to move to Tuesdays with Voyager coming out. So March 1st is going to be the first Voyager podcast. It's me and Clay do an introduction episode. It's about 30 minutes. Me and Clay talk about our cultural understanding of Voyager, what we're expecting from the series, how it feels to be moving on from Enterprise, all that kind of stuff. We just get our feelings laid out, how familiar we are with the show and all that stuff. All of that laid out in about a half an hour, and that's going to come out on March 1st. Tuesday, March 1st. Caretaker comes out after that, a week after. It's March 8th. We have an hour and 45-minute podcast that me and Clay have done so far, talking about that pilot episode and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's March 8th. And then we've recorded Parallax, just to give you guys a sense of where we are. We've recorded Parallax. That's all done. That's coming out the 15th. So if you're a patron, get your comments in ASAP about the next coming episodes because we are recording them a whole bunch pretty quickly. After that, we're just going to move on. So get your comments in on patreon.com/thepenskyfile if you want to comment on the Voyager episodes and get that included in the show. And that's it, the schedule. Voyager starts March 1st. It's going to be every Tuesday. After that is a brand new Voyager episode available on the podcast feed where all the episodes are found and on the YouTube feed, as is obvious. Just one last thing about Voyager. The rule so far is that because we've set this goal for Voyager, which is the $900 level, gets us every single episode, if we get to the end of a month and the Patreon runs itself and it's less than $900, we're going to be skipping to 8 episodes a season at that point. So we're only going to do 8 episodes a season of Voyager if the Patreon drops below that goal. And that means that if 8 episodes have already been done in a season, we're skipping to the next season. So that's the incentive to keep the Patreon up. We will drop it down to a select choice if the Patreon doesn't stay at that level. But once it makes it back up, we'll resume as normal. The other aspect of this update is that Picard Season 2 is starting on March 3rd, I think. That is correct. Picard is coming out March 3rd. That means that we are indeed going to be covering Star Trek Picard Season 2. We've given up on Discovery, but Picard still has a chance, and there's only 3 seasons of Picard, so that's incentivized us to keep going. Here's the catch. Our coverage of Picard Season 2 is only going to be on Patreon. The $5 and up level are going to get every single episode of Picard, a podcast about it from us. It's going to show up on the Patreon feed. It's probably going to come out on the Saturday after the Picard episode airs. So the show comes out on a Thursday. We'll record on a Friday. If I'm feeling up to it and I have the energy, I'll try to get the show out that Friday. If not, it'll be Saturday. So at the latest, it'll be the Saturday after Picard airs. You can go to Patreon and get our episode about that Picard episode. $5 and up. Quite a deal to get that entire series only on Patreon. That's going to be coming out on Saturdays. Voyager will come out on Tuesdays. Depending on how the Star Trek Picard coverage goes, we might continue this trend with Strange New Worlds because that is starting right when Picard's season ends. And if the feedback is good, people are enjoying it, and the workload is manageable, I think that we'll continue that way. It might be chopped off, depends on how people receive it, if it's worth it. If people don't really react to the Picard stuff, we might not do Strange New Worlds. It's all up in the air. But let us know what you think about the plan. Let us know if you want to support the show by going to patreon.com/thepenskyfile and supporting us there. You get access to all the Picard episodes, maybe the Strange New World episodes, and you ensure that Voyager gets every single episode covered. So that's it. Just to recap, Voyager is starting on March 1st with our introduction episode. Is moving to Tuesday, the Voyager show on the main podcast feed. Every Tuesday is going to be a Voyager episode coming to you through the podcast feed and the YouTube app. The catch there, if the Patreon drops below the $900 level, we will start skipping Voyager episodes. So you want to support the show at patreon.com/thepenskyfile. if you want to make sure that every single Voyager gets covered. The other aspect here is Picard Season 2 is starting. It's going to be Patreon exclusive, patreon.com/thepenskyfile. I'll say it again, patreon.com/thepenskyfile. If you want to support the show and you want that Picard coverage, that's where you have to go. And then, depending on how successful that is, maybe Strange New Worlds will follow suit on Patreon. So, people who love Voyager, it's coming for you. Picard and Strange New Worlds are locked behind the Patreon, but if you want to support the show, you get access to that stuff. That's it. I think we're done. Thank you, everybody, for being so generous. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for leaving comments. Thank you for talking on the Discord. All that stuff. One last time, patreon.com/thepenskyfile is where you get all the extra stuff. You leave your comments on the Star Trek episodes. You get access to Picard and possibly Strange New Worlds. All that good stuff. You make sure Voyager keeps coming. Everything's there for you. All right, guys, thanks very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this update video. Let me know your thoughts below. Join the Discord if you want to talk to us in person. And otherwise, we'll see you on the 1st with an introduction, and then Caretaker, and then Picard Season 2, Episode 1, whatever that's called. See ya.